Since all the Viking Ocean ships are the same more or less, the following tour of this particular Explorer Suite should be relevant to any Explorer Suite on any Viking Ocean ship. And a little warning before we start: you cannot and should not go out on the balcony in front of the Explorer Suite in front of these ships. It's dangerous. I think it's called Explorer Suite because it's facing forward. All the rooms, the living room here, the bedroom over there, and on the side over there you have balconies facing forward, and that's why it's called Explorer Suite. Because the explorer, of course, must look ahead. He must have his eyes fixed on what's coming. He cannot sit on the side of the ship, he cannot sit in the back of the ship looking at what has already gone by. He, as an explorer, will have to look forward. And because it's an Explorer Suite, it's equipped with binoculars. They sit in a drawer in the walk-in closet over there, but I always keep them on the table here on the balcony or on the table in the living room, because I want to be able to see, keep an eye on what's happening ahead of the ship. As an explorer, you're looking for rare birds, whales, sharks, things like that, but also dangers ahead. There could be other ships, like here. There could be icebergs. You know, 90% of the iceberg can be below the surface. It may not look very huge, but it can be really damaging for the ship. And of course you have pirates. Some people think that pirates belong to the past, but there are pirates today, and if you see a pirate, and if I see any danger ahead, I'll pick up the phone over in the living room and call up to the captain. I think this is important, especially since the captain is Swedish. This is not like the owner's suite, which is on the side of the ship. And it's also not like the captain's suite, who is, I guess, right above here. Because this Explorer Suite is situated under the bridge. And the captain is on the bridge over here, I hope. I can sometimes hear his steps. He's running around just above my head here. And that makes me a little bit nervous sometimes. And I also have heard that the captain is Swedish. That is something that really I find strange, because everybody knows that Norwegians are born sailors. They are ship owners. Why would a Swedish guy be hired as a captain? I don't know. The ship is Norwegian. It's owned by a Norwegian, and it's registered in Bergen in Norway. Because of the dangers ahead, the explorer should keep his head clear. He should be sober at all times, but that's not easy because you have a mini bar over here. A mini bar with full-size bottles. For instance, here we have Cabernet Sauvignon, we have Chardonnay, and here we even have Champagne Jacobsen. Champagne Jacobsen. Or actually it's a little bit misspelling. Champagne Jacquat. Jacquat. Well, this is for me. This is for me to drink. You also have vodka, gin, rum, whiskey. The only thing you don't have is cognac for some reason. I'm surprised they didn't put in a bottle of Larsen's cognac, because, you know, on the bottle of Larsen's cognac there is a Viking ship, exactly like the logo of Viking cruises. So that's surprising they didn't put that in. When I drink from the bar here, from the mini bar, I could sit in the sofa over there, but usually I sit here, by the window, in front of the window, in front of the balcony, watching out for dangers ahead. I feel that that's my duty, and I have to do it. And every time I get up from this table, having been drinking, I knock my head into this lamp. This happens all the time. This lamp, for some reason, is too low, and it's mounted directly above the table, so that you're bound to knock your head into it. I don't know why they didn't supply this Explorer suite with the helmet. Because of this stupid lamp, and because of all the full-size bottles in the minibar, I often have a headache. That's typical for this trip. And I'm afraid I'm going to become an alcoholic. So I'm wondering, could I sue Viking Cruises for an enormous amount of money if I become an alcoholic here? I don't know. I'm also gaining weight. They have so much delicious food in so many good restaurants in the ship. So you're bound to eat and gain weight. It's not possible to avoid it. So maybe I could also sue Viking Cruises for getting fat. What do you think? I don't know. But let's say, the problem is that how am I going to prove it? Because if I now take a bottle from the minibar and drink it, and then I roam about in the ship for a while, and when I come back, the empty bottle will be gone. The dirty glasses that were on Little Parade on this table will be gone. They will be miraculously clean, shining inside the cupboard again. There is no trace of my drinking. The bottle is replaced, the glasses are clean. How can I prove that I drank? Sometimes I wonder, did I just imagine this? Did I dream that I drank this bottle? Because everything is replaced immediately. That's also go for the things I eat. Like there are lots of snacks in this minibar. They have snacks. They have nuts, chocolate. Like here, we have a little milk chocolate. This video is sponsored by Freia milk chocolate. Delicious, nutritious, a little piece of Norway. A little adventure, he says. But if I eat this one, and the other one, which is in here, the next time I go out of this suite, it will be replaced. The chocolate will be back. So how can I avoid gaining weight? Here we are in the walk-in closet, where the explorer will put on his expedition clothing. Like, for instance, this jacket. This is a typical clothing for an explorer, with lots of pockets and windproof. And this is where the explorer will sit when he or she applies her makeup. Most explorers don't use makeup, but maybe as a female explorer she will sit here and apply her makeup. And here we are in the bedroom, the explorer's bedroom, which also has a balcony or terrace or veranda in front, and also a sea view from the bed. So the explorer can lay in his bed, looking forward, watching for dangers ahead. And this makes it a little bit difficult to sleep. You know, it can be a little bit exhausting when you all the time have to watch outside for something happening while you're trying to sleep. And when the waves are really big, I try to follow the waves in order not to get seasick. That's also exhausting. I feel a little tired already. Now, but let's look at the rest. Here we have the bathroom, and here the toilet, and the explorer can sit on the toilet looking out towards the ocean. He just has to stick his neck a little bit out and turn his head portwise, and he can watch ahead on the sea what's happening in front of the ship. And the same goes in a way for the bathtub over there. If the explorer put his head on the far end of the bathtub, he can watch the ocean also while he's taking a bath. And if you put his head the other way, he can watch television. This may look like a mirror, but actually it's a television. So if you put your head here, the explorer can look at television while he is taking a bath. But as far as I know, most explorers don't watch television. They may be on television. They may be on the Discovery Channel or National Geographic, but they will not watch it, I think. To finish, let me just mention that this is the so-called small ships. All the Viking cruise ships are so-called small ships. And what that means is that it can go into almost any port. It can go into shallow water, into rivers. It can go places where the huge cruise ships with thousands of passengers cannot go. This is an advantage. The disadvantage is, like you see now, there are waves. And especially if you are here in the Explorer's Suite, on the top of the ship, just under the bridge, in the front of the ship, near the bow, you get all these movements. The ship is shaking, moving, you feel the ocean. This is not something you feel if you go down on deck 1 or deck 2 at the restaurant. You will hardly feel any movement because you're on lower level and further back in the ship. So this is a disadvantage. An advantage, on the other hand, is that this ship does not have room for casinos, discos, dance floors, things like that. The only thing they have, which is a good thing, is a so-called star theater where they have lectures, they have professors, they have experts talking about the ports we're going to visit. So before you get into a port, you have information, you learn about the place, the history, the fauna, interesting facts about the places you're going to. And this reminds me of Lorentz Didrikson, the first Norwegian professor of history, who wrote, and now I quote, "One must always read in advance about the places one intends to travel to. Traveling somewhere must always be a recognition," he wrote. "Only if you already know some facts and some history of the place you plan to visit, can you feel at home when you arrive in a foreign country." And this is exactly what's happening when you're traveling with the Viking Ocean cruises like this. You are really prepared if you go to these lectures and listen to these experts. You know what you are going to see and you will recognize it when you see it. But you have still another advantage of a small ship like this, and that is you get to know the other passengers. You bump into them all the time. There are only a few hundred of them. You also bump into the officers. Actually, I've met many of them already and I talked to them. The only one I haven't met is the captain, who is, as I said, Swedish. So I think I'll go and look for him now. He is just above here. I can hear his steps above me, running about. So I go and bug him a little bit. That's what I'm going to do now. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Goodbye.